Oxidation and reduction reaction. Oxidation and reduction reaction are also known as redox reactions. When oxidation and reduction reaction takes place together in a reaction, that reaction is known as a redox reaction. Before we learn what is a redox reaction, let us see what is meant by oxidation and reduction. Let us see first the definition of oxidation. What is oxidation? Oxidation is the addition of oxygen in any reaction. When there is addition of oxygen in any reaction, that reaction will be known as oxidation reaction. So, see this example. C plus O2 gives CO2, carbon plus oxygen gives CO2. Here there is addition of oxygen to carbon. So, this reaction becomes an example of an oxidation reaction. So, we can say that carbon is undergoing the process of oxidation. Then one more definition of oxidation is that when there is removal of hydrogen. In any reaction, when there is removal of hydrogen, that type of reaction is known as a reduction reaction. Let us see this example. Here MnO2 plus 4HCl gives MnCl2 plus 2H2O plus Cl2. Now, if you see here, there in this reaction, HCl got converted to Cl2. So, from HCl, hydrogen got removed. There was removal of hydrogen from HCl and thus HCl became Cl2. So, we can say that this reaction of HCl getting converted to Cl2 is an example of an oxidation reaction. Why? Because there was removal of hydrogen. So, here we can say that HCl was undergoing oxidation. So, this is the second definition of oxidation, that is when there is removal of hydrogen in any reaction, that reaction is known as an example of a oxidation reaction. Then one more definition of the other definition of oxidation reaction is when there is loss of electrons. In any reaction, if an atom or an ion loses electrons, then we can say that that ion is undergoing the process of oxidation. See this example now. Fe plus 2 charge plus Cu gets converted to Fe plus Cu plus 2 charge. What is meant by a plus 2 charge? That there are less number of ions here, there are 2 ions less, that is why there is a positive charge here. Now, if you see here, copper lost its ion and that is why copper became 2 positive charge. We know that when an atom loses electrons, it gains a positive charge. So, here copper lost the electrons and that is why copper gained a positive charge, and where those 2 electrons went, they went to iron. Iron gained those 2 electrons. Copper lost the electrons, 2 electrons. So, because copper lost the electrons, we can say that copper underwent the process of oxidation. So, oxidation is what? The loss of electrons also. So, copper underwent the process of oxidation. So, this means that what is oxidation? Oxidation is either the addition of oxygen or the removal of hydrogen or the loss of electrons. Then let us understand what is meant by reduction reaction. Reduction reaction will be the opposite of oxidation reaction. So, addition of oxygen was oxidation. Here we find removal of oxygen is reduction reaction. Removal of oxygen or addition of hydrogen. If you see in this reaction now, CuO plus H2 gives Cu plus H2O. So, now what is happening here? CuO is getting converted to Cu, that means CuO is losing electrons, there is removal of oxygen from CuO when it is getting converted to Cu. So, removal of oxygen, that is why we will say that CuO has undergone the process of reduction, or here CuO is having reduction process. So, this is the definition of reduction, removal of oxygen. Then addition of hydrogen. Addition of hydrogen is also known as reduction. Let us see where this example is. If you see this example, H2S plus Cl2 gives HCl plus S. Now, here we can see there is no oxygen, but there is hydrogen. Now, what is happening to Cl2? Cl2 is gaining hydrogen and it is getting converted to HCl. That means Cl2 is gaining hydrogen. So, that means it is undergoing the process of reduction. So what is reduction? Addition of hydrogen. So here there is addition of hydrogen to Cl2. So that's why this is an example of reduction reaction. Then I said that reduction is also the gain of electrons. So this is the third definition of reduction. The reduction is also known as the gain of electrons. We have already seen this example here where we saw copper was undergoing the process of oxidation because it was losing electrons, but as you can see here, iron is gaining electrons. Iron was Fe plus 2, positive charge was there on iron, but now that positive charge has been lost. So that means iron has gained 2 electrons. So that means iron has undergone the process of reduction, gain of electrons. So this is the process of reduction, gain of electrons of iron. So that is reduction process. So what is oxidation? Oxidation is the addition of oxygen, removal of hydrogen or the loss of electrons. And what is reduction? Removal of oxygen or addition of hydrogen or gain of electrons. They are the opposite of each other. Now, if in any reaction both these oxidation and reduction are occurring, then that reaction will be known as a redox reaction. That reaction will be known as a redox reaction. See for this example, MnO2 plus 4HCl gives MnCl2 plus 2H2O plus Cl2. So if you see here, HCl, as I said, was gaining hydrogen, or sorry, HCl was actually losing hydrogen, so it was undergoing the process of oxidation. So, but MnO2, because it was losing oxygen, loss of electrons or removal of oxygen, so it was undergoing the process of reduction. So that means here one substance is undergoing the process of reduction, the other is undergoing the process of oxidation. So this is an example of a redox reaction. Or if you see this example also, CuO plus H2 gives Cu plus H2O. Here also CuO is undergoing reduction because it was losing electrons. H2, because it gained oxygen, it was undergoing the process of oxidation. So this is also an example of a redox reaction. Similarly, this also is an example of a redox reaction where Fe2O3 gets converted to Fe. It is losing oxygen, so it is undergoing the process of reduction. CuO is gaining oxygen. See, it was CO first and now it is CO2. That means it has gained one oxygen, so it has undergone the process of oxidation. So this is reduction and oxidation both taking place in a reaction. This is also a redox reaction. Here also if you see, as I told you, Cl2 was gaining hydrogen, so it was undergoing the process of reduction, but H2S was losing hydrogen, so it was undergoing the process of oxidation. So again, this is an example of an oxidation reduction reaction. Let us now understand the concept of oxidizing and reducing agent. Oxidizing and reducing agent has to do something with oxidation and reduction. Again, we will see this example of oxidation and reduction where we saw that CuO was undergoing reduction. Why? Because it was losing oxygen, so it was undergoing reduction. Now, when CuO was undergoing reduction, that means it was losing oxygen. So there had to be some substance which will gain that oxygen from CuO. So we find that H2 was gaining that oxygen from CuO. That means H2 was helping in the reduction of CuO. H2 was helping in the reduction of CuO by gaining that oxygen. That means H2 was acting as a reducing agent. It was acting as a reducing agent because it was helping in the reduction of CuO. So H2 becomes a reducing agent. Now if we see this reaction, H2 getting converted to H2O, that means H2 is undergoing oxidation because it was gaining oxygen. Now when this H2 was gaining oxygen, there had to be some substance which will give its oxygen so that H2 will gain that oxygen. There had to be some substance which will give its oxygen to H2 so that H2 becomes H2O. That means there have to be some substance which will help in the oxidation of H2. And who helped in the oxidation of H2? CuO, because CuO lost the electron, then only H2 gained that electron. So CuO helped in the oxidation of H2O. So this becomes, CuO becomes the oxidizing agent. Agent means helper. So here, because CuO helped in the oxidation of H2, so CuO becomes the oxidizing agent. So this is oxidizing agent CuO, and H2 is the reducing agent. So if you look here, CuO underwent reduction, so and it acted as a oxidizing agent. H2 underwent oxidation, it acted as a reducing agent. So this means that oxidizing agent, what are they? They always help in oxidation and they themselves get reduced. Oxidizing agent helps in oxidation and themselves get reduced. Oxidizing agent help in oxidation, themselves get reduced. And what are reducing agents? Reducing agents are those which help in reduction and themselves get oxidized. This is important. They are opposite of each other. So reducing agent help in reduction, but they themselves get oxidized, and oxidizing agent help in oxidation and themselves get reduced. So if in any equation you are asked, name the oxidizing agent or name the reducing agent, so what you will see is, you will see that which substance is undergoing oxidation or which substance is undergoing reduction. So here if you see that H2 is undergoing oxidation, so H2 is undergoing oxidation, that means it is getting oxidized, so that means it will be acting as a reducing agent. Or if you are asked to name the oxidizing agent in this reaction, so you will see which substance is undergoing reduction. So here which substance is undergoing reduction? CuO is undergoing reduction, so it will be acting as an oxidizing agent. One more important thing is to be noted is that when we talk about oxidizing agent and reducing agent, we always take the reactant side. This will get oxidized, this will get reduced, or this is acting as an oxidizing agent, this is acting as a reducing agent. We always take reactants into consideration. We don't take the products into consideration. So this was all in this session. In this session, we learnt about 3 types of reactions: displacement, double displacement, and oxidation reduction reaction. Thank you.